Welcome to Simply Wealth, the podcast that's simplifying the complexities of your financial success. My name is Corey Cook, CEO of Cox & Cook Wealth Advisors here in Dublin, Ohio. Please enjoy the episode. All right, so marriage and finance. All right, that's a big topic especially for newlyweds, even for people that have been married for a long time. We take questions frequently, I'm curious about your guys' opinions, and I can speak to my personal case where, my wife, finances make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? And when we wanted to create a household system to control and basically regulate our finances in an appropriate way so we could build, we struggled, at first, but we came up with kind of a winning combo to set up all of our cash flows, savings, everything else. Dakota, you're recently married here.
Yeah.
Have you and your spouse discussed finances, and what was that like for you?
Oh gosh. So we recently married back in March of this year. Combined finances in April and May. So I took your method, the method we share with our clients, because I wanted to see it on a firsthand basis and experience it, and was hopeful that it kept things simple, stupid. Yeah, the kiss method in all areas of our life. So we basically took all of our accounts that were outside. Her and I discussed it. We created our flow through. I showed her the illustrations of everything. She has access to all of the accounts, but since we work in this industry, I do all the bills, I pay all the bills, the direct deposits, I balance the checkbook. We use a finance app to make sure we're being held accountable to our categories. But full transparency is probably the biggest thing when it comes to marriage and finance for us. It's if you're not having that transparency, I've seen cracks where, especially in my own life, where somebody you don't have communication on what you're spending, and then one person goes out and spends $500 on an item. Well, the other one gets jealous and now spends $500 on an item. Great. At the end of the day, we're now down $1,000 out of ego and frustration. Yeah. So transparency was probably the biggest money advice I could give myself every day, is like making sure my wife knows how things flow, how things work, what we're spending our money on. We just recently purchased a home. And anybody who's purchased a home, you have to go through those closing documents. And I sat there with her and we went line by line. I wanted her, your signature's on this too. I want you to know what you're signing off on, what you're signing up for, and what everything means. Because she would ask me questions. I'm like, all right, let's sit down and actually go through the whole thing, because it will answer every question you have about this mortgage, how it works, how it operates, how much we're paying, who do we pay, when do we pay, X, Y, Z. And it put all of that transparency and just going through those documents with her put her at ease for when we purchased our home, versus like, Dakota has that. Well, there may be a day where Dakota is in a coma and Elizabeth needs to step up. So I needed her to. It's a team effort. It's a joint effort. This isn't a divide and conquer. This isn't a one person does the finances, one handles the home. It's like, no, we both do both, because at the end of the day, if one of us goes down, the other one has to step up. So that's. Yeah. How about you, Tom?
I've found that over communicating keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah. That's good.
And what I mean by that is. I found that I am at the store and I want to buy a thing, and I don't think it's something that needs to be discussed because it's not a crazy number.
Right.
But sometimes those things add up, and now, when we look at our monthly budget, we're over in a certain category.
Yeah.
Because of the I guess a lack of communication, right? And as opposed to bringing it up, hey, I'm going to go ahead and buy these new pair of skates. I'm starting to play hockey again, right? It's going to be $300. How does that affect everything? And it's like, well, we're going on vacation in a couple months. We got to pay for that now. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be an expensive month. Now we have to take out of savings. as opposed to talking about it. Hey, do you really need those now? Let's wait till next month
Yeah.
till you really need them. And now we're not hurting this month's budget, having to dip into savings. Really, that's kind of the goal. How do we keep adding to our savings and investments as opposed to taking away from them, while still enjoying life. So it's just talking through those things, and I like your approach of it's a team. We're working on this together, as opposed to dividing and conquering. So I think that's what has brought me success when it comes to my relationship with my wife and finance.
But marriage and finance, big deal. We
Big deal.
meet frequently with prospective clients that are either getting ready to get married, or just newlyweds, or even some folks that have been married for 20 plus years.
Right.
Finance can be the bane of that marriage, and it's all about communication, right? It's all about communication, and every marriage is different, different personalities between husband and wife. My case is different than yours,
Right.
and I know with my spouse, finances can be very uncomfortable for her to talk about. She likes it to be out of sight, out of mind. It's nice that she's married to a finance guy, so we have things arranged well. But a lot of folks might not be either spouse really
Right.
financially savvy, and communication. That is something that needs to be discussed on a frequent basis. Before you're even talking about getting married. For those folks that are looking to get engaged, having that conversation of what they're getting into at the beginning stages, all the way to, how does that morph into when we get married? Are we going to combine finances? What is a system that works?
Right.
So communication, if it's great, if it's functioning and flowing between husband and wife, if it's not, getting somebody else involved to help them along the way, to help show them systems that work, so that it's not a pain point of your marriage, and ensuring that things are going well. There's savings there, cash flows are meeting up. We're not running in a hole and racking up debt. That's one of those things that we've had ample discussions about over the years, and it can be a tough conversation. Right?
Yeah.
So when you guys approach this, I liked your approach and conversation that we had regard to finance with you and your spouse, where you were very transparent and upfront and addressing, look, this is what I'm bringing to the table. It's what she was bringing to the table. What does that look like, going into the, more serious relationship phase, heading into engagement? That's constructive. I'm sure you found it that way. And
Yeah.
what was the difference, I guess, in mindset, anxieties, and different things between you and your spouse?
Oh, great. So my when it comes to, my wife went to college. I did not. So she has student loans. I do not. I'm a little bit more risk on in general, and she is not. So when it comes to a lot of things, when we first met, I was clawing myself out of a bad relationship, XYZ, getting my foundation back, where she kind of already had her foundation. So she was open and willing to help me get back on my feet, get my foundation, get things going, as well as she was the breadwinner. So that helped. When we first got together, I explained my situation, where we were going. Hey, I still want to attack life, enjoy life, take care, do the things that we do. But just so you know, X, Y, or Z, I'm cleaning up this mess. COVID hits. I'm cleaning up that mess, switching jobs. And she was very patient, and she was very willing to help me work on those things when we first got together. She knew where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and achieve. And she was willing to help me get there, or at least be that supportive boyfriend or girlfriend at the time. I've always wanted to date with the intention of getting married. I'm where I want to go in life, what I want to do. I don't have time to just one girlfriend here, the next girlfriend there. I want to go experience life with somebody. I want that same person to go to Switzerland or St. Lucia or X, Y, or Z, or even just watch a movie together. I don't want it to be somebody here today, gone tomorrow. So I've always had the intention of it was a long-term search when I was searching for a girlfriend. And during that time of me building my foundation, her being patient and willing to help me kind of showed like the first signs of like we can do this if we can tackle this at the beginning. I don't see us not being able to enjoy life or when we start building upon this this endeavor as boyfriend girlfriend. You don't really talk about finances, you keep them separate. I remember teaching her about credit cards. Like she never had a credit card. She never got to enjoy the perks of those things because for her debt was scary. She's never had debt outside of student loans. So she's just been patient and wonderful in those ways to help me. But tons of systems in place to help us now that she has different wants and needs and fun things that she enjoys, and I do too. But we want to make sure that one of us isn't benefiting from our labor than the other one is. We're both taking full advantage, whatever it is. If somebody wants to buy X or go do X, oh, hey, I want to join too. Like we went to a concert last night. It's like, it's not a top 5 band for me. It was a top 5 band for her. She had a wonderful time. I had a great time. I was happy to be there and experience it with her. But rather than just her buying somebody else a ticket and now it's like, okay, well, when I get something, I won't feel as bad or we'll work on it together. So yeah, I would say systems flow, keep it simple.
Are you guys using? Like what, you guys got some apps you're using to help with the budget? You got a spreadsheet?
Both. So the systems I took the system we want our clients, we showcase our clients like, hey, here's our tried and true method. You could take it and use it or not. And the flow is, so I have a banking background. I worked at Fifth Third Bank for 5 years, so I understand the risks of having your checking account exposed to X, Y, or Z things. And Corey's flow method, I'll take it here and run with it, is so your direct deposits would go into one account, and you protect that. So that the only thing that you have one account, direct deposits go
Checking
into.
account?
Checking account, yes.
Okay.
One checking account.
Is it a joint checking, like with you and your wife?
Yes. So it'd be a joint checking with both of us. And then so all direct deposits go into there. And then I have spreadsheets that show like our monthly fixed expenses. So then we have a secondary joint checking account called bills. So then all of our bills go out of that account. And the reason for that, if that account was to ever be exposed, ever get hacked, the utility company gets hacked and now they have my checking and routing number, well, they're only going to get the money that's in the bills. My direct deposits will still come in. There's no risk there. I don't have to worry about that side. So you take the checking account with the direct deposit checking account. You have your bills joint checking account where you pay all of your bills. You both have an individual account that neither one of you are on. You don't see it. You don't know how much money they have. That's their play money. That's the judgment-free zone. It's what we call it. And we transfer X amount of dollars per month out of our direct deposit account into both of those accounts. And then we also have a joint brokerage account. That's our savings account that we send money to. So at the end of the day, the direct deposit account will have zero, roughly. The bills are paid. We'll have money in both of our checking accounts that we see. You see the transparency of the flow. And then on the back end, when we pay our discretionary spending, she transfers her money to the bills. I transfer my spending to the bills, and then it ropes it back in for payments.
So how did you guys? Actually, let me back up for a second. I like how many like how you have it all laid out. It's very clear, and it makes sense. How everything flows, making sure you're protected, keeping all of your your bill account is the only one really at risk.
Right.
How do you guys decide, or how have you found that I'm going to put 80% of this into one account, 10% into the other, and another 10 into the other one? Like, how have you guys broken out how much are we putting into the individual discretionary funds, brokerage funds? Is it a percentage? Is it different for both of you? Like you're putting $100 in, she's putting $200 in. How did you guys have that conversation? How'd that go?
So savings is very important for my wife. That is her safety blanket. So we just purchased a home, moving in here soon, and right now there's no savings because furniture and painting and carpet and all the fun stuff. So as the dust settles, we would take what I do is we take our non-discretionary spending, the utilities, the car loans, the mortgage, XYZ. All right, that is accounted for. What's left? Okay, well that's then her and I. So we're still working on the new budget currently, because before our mortgage we were renting and it was 30% less. Okay, well now that we have a 30% higher fixed expense, we need to discuss. We want to still maintain our savings. We want to increase our 401k contributions, but to do that means we get rid of some of our discretionary spending. So it's finding that happy medium. She works from home, so she doesn't do a lot of the things that we may do. Like we go out to lunch, we go smoke cigars, we go enjoy ourselves here or there. So I enjoy a lot more fruits of the labors out and about, where she enjoys them from home. Like whether that's renting a movie, buying a movie, going to the movies, going for a walk, playing pickleball. So it's kind of like I want to make sure she's getting her cake and eating it too, but also I don't want to sacrifice a lot of our daily living enjoyment. But yeah.
So I, as we've been talking, I've been thinking about this. It'd be fun and interesting to have our wives in on a future podcast and have a conversation on the same topic in the future, because getting their takes might be a little different than ours. But on that note, I'm interested. I'll pitch it to you, Corey. Thoughts on doing a prenup or a postnup in Ohio? Do you and Lindsay have one? Was it a topic of conversation? If I were a client, what advice would you give me in that realm right before I get married?
To answer that quickly, it's not a conversation that we had right from the get-go. In fact, we've never really talked about prenup or even now postnup that you can get. But it's case-by-case basis. If we have a client that's coming in, as an example, maybe they're younger and they have either made or come into an immense amount of wealth or some type of interest financially, it makes sense for them to have that conversation. To say, this is your asset, this is your interest. Let's not muddy the waters, right? As we're entering into a relationship, a marriage, whatever it may be, to protect those assets. They're yours going into this. It can be a tough conversation to have with your partner, significant other, to bring up, well, hey, we're going to exclude all of this if our marriage breaks apart, right? Something happens. It's not the fun details and thoughts that you want to have talking about a split or divorce, but it's protecting your interests, heading specifically into a marriage. We're now with postnups, that would be another piece that's newer. If somebody is really killing it and doing well in life, financially, professionally, whatever that may be, and they want to protect that interest that they have, it makes sense for them to approach that topic. Like you said, case-by-case basis. Every relationship is different. If things are going well, that could sour the mood a little bit when you're having that conversation. But it's, again, communication. We go back to that. Having an open line of communication with your significant other.
It's a hard conversation to have.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're, the timing of it all, right? Like we're planning our wedding.
Right.
Let's talk about, if we ever do get a divorce. And in that moment, right, you're like, getting ready to marry this person, that's the last thing on your mind. Oh, I'll never be getting divorced. I love this person. So for me, for the audience, me and my wife don't have a prenup or postnup either. We had brief discussions, but decided against it. And I think at the time, it was like, we don't really need this. We're not ever going to get divorced. I hear it that it's like, you got to take out the emotion and think about it more like a contract, right? Like being married and getting married is contractual. I think that changes like the mentality going into the post-nup conversation. I was just curious what you guys' thoughts were on that. And that's what I think it'd be fun to get the girls in here and get their opinions.
I have a really good friend that does have a prenup. And she, similar situation to most people where they didn't have a lot of assets when they got married. So it didn't make sense for them to do a prenup from the asset perspective, but they did the prenup from the family perspective of like, they knew they wanted to have kids. Okay, well, let's define what would happen if we were to get divorced. Who gets it? If in hers, it stipulates like if he was to cheat on her, then she, gets full custody of the children, and vice versa. So it puts rules and guidelines for like if this event was to occur, what you're getting into, kind of thing. Like, hey, well, this is what you did, so your actions have consequences. I could see it as something. As we're talking here, I see we trust, protect the assets from the grave, is how sometimes it can be described, or the control from the grave. And it's like, why some people argue, why would you do that? If that is a little too much control. We want to protect people if they were to pass away. Why wouldn't we protect them in the marriage as well? My best friend's going through a divorce currently, so I see it all firsthand. And I'm like, prenup may have saved them about $7,000.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you protect the marriage and just the general? You're both loving. You're both. We talk about death. Hey, you don't want to talk about death with your spouse, but it's inevitable. The divorce rate in America is relatively high. I think it's above 50% or something along those lines. And why wouldn't we protect the marriage in general from a non-asset perspective?
Yeah, and it breaks down to the conversation we just had, marriage and finance. Whether you're doing it directly with your significant other or spouse, pending spouse, having that conversation from the get-go, open, candid conversation about, again, what are we bringing to the table? What are our goals and expectations financially for the future? How are we going to plan for that if something happens? It is a point of conversation that needs to be had. The divorce rate is rather high in the U.S., and making sure that open line of communication, whether that's between spouse to spouse, if it's a tough conversation to have, having that mediator available, whether that be a friend, a family member, an attorney, a wealth advisor, right, to sit down at the table and help guide that conversation, and make sure that it's addressed is a big deal.
So I want to jump into estate planning because we haven't talked about it, and we all three have different perspectives, and because I have never gone through the estate planning process outside of the advanced directives for myself, where you two have different perspectives and conversations with your spouse on estate planning. So, Corey, if you would like to.
What do you need in that advanced directives package, Corey?
Yeah. So, minimum with an advanced directives package, anybody over the age of 18 needs a simple will, a living will, a healthcare power of attorney, and a financial power of attorney, also known as a durable power of attorney. So those 4 documents, you can throw in a HIPAA waiver in there as well. That's going to allow that young adult that if something happens to them, not saying deceased, but if they get into a bad car accident, they become incapacitated in some way, shape, or form, it's now going to legally allow their parents or whomever they dictate to make sure that their finances are up to snuff, make medical decisions for them, be able to pay those bills so they're not behind and lose their house if they're in a coma. So those documents are important, and that's a base case for everybody. getting into more advanced planning, especially for spouses, it's the push to get trust all the time. You hear it from a lot of estate planning. Well, you need a trust. They make a lot of money on very complicated, sometimes overly complicated trusts that aren't even needed. You can accomplish and avoid probate, which is the number one thing, without having a trust, by the way. In most instances, as long as you have done your homework on the back end and setting up designated beneficiaries, transfer on death, payable on death instructions at the bank, anything with a title and deed, transfer on death instructions, will avoid probate. Anything that you forget will now open up a probate case. But in regard to a trust, it is a case-by-case basis, depending on the dynamic, what they're looking to do. You can get extremely complex if you have a lot of desires to happen with your nest egg or your assets when you pass, maybe even while you're living. Pretty staunch on if you are a family with young children, that you have a trust in place, for sure, to ensure that you can control and protect those assets for your young children up to an age to where you feel that they are responsible enough to handle those things themselves. If a husband and wife were to pass tragically and leave some children behind, there's a lot of asset there that potentially they're going to get their hands on at age 18, which in most cases is not a good thing. They're going to blow through that. It could be life insurance. They're going to get the house, the cars, your retirement assets, 401ks, IRAs, Roth, checking account, savings account, collectibles, you name it. You can set up those guide rails for them, how the money's to be managed, who's to manage it, when they can access those monies at certain intervals of time, milestones in life that they can access those funds. Really cool method with our estate planning attorney friend and strategic partner listed like a bonus strategy where they could access money early. In his case, he was talking 35 with their trust that he and his wife had established. They get into their working career, and if they're making $100,000 a year, they can draw early $100,000 out of that trust. So it's a matching bonus. So it keeps that incentive for your children to
I like that.
keep pushing. Right.
Did you say that bonus structure starts when they turn 35?
Their payout, when they can just start naturally taking assets at a certain amount out of the trust. That's an age that they happen to dictate.
The way me and Natalie set it up for our son Sebastian, I think he has access to 50% when he turns 30, and then the other 50% when he turns 35.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Like I said, it's full flexibility. You can literally with a trust, make it yours and set any of the parameters that you so please. We had a client that actually had a stipulation within his trust for his 3 children that they had to have this bust set up on their ledge above the fireplace, and once a year, with no pre-notification, a trust protector would basically come over to the house and make sure that bust picture, whatever, was up on the mantle to ensure that they got their year's release or stipend from the trust.
I love that. Wow. That's amazing.
That's pretty good. But that's how we've got that set up. And again, it's imperative if you have kids, in my opinion, and as a fiduciary, of telling parents to set up a trust to make sure that they can shield those assets appropriately, deliver those assets in a timely manner when appropriate to those kids. When they mature, they're in a good spot, and not ruin them. It's just like hitting the lottery. The lottery ruins more lives than makes them better.
Right.
And you can look at the statistics, and it's very true. It's a pretty staggering number, the amount of people that are broke.
I don't know if we have the time today, but just noting this for the future, we should have a whole podcast.
100%.
What do you do when you hit the lottery?
That was my
book.
A1A.
That's my book.
Yeah.
We'll just turn it into an audio book through this.
Yeah. But I want to piggyback off of that real quick, Corey. So somebody with young children that is interested in getting an estate plan but doesn't know how to approach their spouse. How are some ways they can bring up the estate planning process with them, or get their mind tinkering on like why it's necessary to get this done when the kids are 2 and 5 versus let's do it when we're 65 and we're retired?
Yeah.
Well, what are some ways they could bring that up or broach that topic with their significant other?
Yeah, I mean, so it's just like marriage and finance. There's a time and place, and it needs to come up. You're talking about estate planning again. It's not another fun topic for most people because you're talking about potentially your demise. But a good time to bring that up is approach it from an educated standpoint, in a serious standpoint with your partner, telling them that, hey, this is important to me. Can we please have this discussion? And that person should come educated to their spouse or significant other and just tell them, hey, this is a conversation we need to have. Let's talk about this, right? You have the weapons and tools to bring to the table to help maybe educate your spouse or significant other of the importance of having an estate plan and being able to take them along the pathway of this is why, this is when we need to implement these things, why it's important, right? All those key pieces. But coming and approaching your significant other or spouse in a good place, in a serious place, to tell them, hey, this is a discussion that we need to have. And maybe that's over Saturday morning coffee. Maybe it's bringing it up if we don't want to have the discussion together right now, or if it makes you uncomfortable with just the two of us. Again, let's talk to somebody that we can trust, somebody that's maybe more knowledgeable than the two of us. That could be your fiduciary and wealth partner. Wealth management partner. That could be an estate planning attorney that you're going to meet with to help draft those documents, so they can help guide you and again kind of mediate that conversation.
Yeah, for us, so we're at the beginning stages of the conversation, and I brought it up to my wife that, hey, we need to get our estate plan put in place now that we're married, and for her, she understood it as, oh, well, we'll just leave everything to our parents if we were to pass. I'm like, okay, well, who gets the cats specifically? Are we both pass away in a car accident or a plane accident? Who gets the cats? Well, right. I
don't mean to cut you off. I'm going to piggyback on that because your cats are your kids right now.
Right.
Folks that actually have children in place, that was the biggest point of contention for my wife and I, was talking about guardianship. Who takes over those kids? It's not as simple as, well, my brother or my sister, or is it grandma and grandpa? You actually have to have conversations with all those folks beforehand to say, hey,
it's nice to give them a heads up.
We are thinking about naming you the guardian of our children. Are you comfortable with that? You'd be surprised how many people would say, whoa, that's big.
Right.
That's a big responsibility, because not only are you taking these kids and now have to, have priority one of their caregiving and making sure that they're molded for the rest of their life as their parents would have done into amazing human beings. There's all the financial stress. There's all the other pieces that come with that. They now need to be privy to your entire estate plan that you have set up. That's another importance of having that estate plan if you are a married couple with children. So you can provide to them the guide stone of, look, we have everything planned out, to a T, exactly what is to happen financially. There are assets and resources there available to you to help take care of these kids. But having that conversation, it was kind of a tough go, and we've had conversations with friends and family members that have asked us. And it's, you got to allow that other couple or whomever that you're trying to list as that guardian time to digest that and go through all of the rigmarole of, okay, if something happens to them, I have to now watch over these young human beings for a significant period of time. Really the rest of their life. You're the new parents. And
something to think about too is the people you pick to be guardians, their relationship within the financial power of attorney, who would manage all the financial decisions for that kid. So say they're under 18, living under the guardian's roof. They just turned 16 and they want a new car. That's a discussion between the kid, the guardians, and then a third party who approves of early withdrawals before they turn 30 or 35, whatever you decided. So if that's a contentious relationship, you might want to rethink who is in what role.
There's definitely a personality type that is appropriate for a situation like that. You don't want somebody who doesn't understand finances to then manage your finances, or to be the caregiver of your children, and they don't understand what they're getting into in general. Like my brother and sister-in-law over dinner, group setting dinner, told us, "Hey, just want to let you guys know you're the guardians of our kids if we were to pass." I'm like, "Where's the official document? I want to see it in writing." And there was no like previous conversation to that. It was sorry about your luck. That's kind of how I.
Yeah, that's definitely not the way to approach that situation. Yeah. It's communication. Everything comes back to communication. You and your significant other spouse need to be sitting down and having a firm discussion over coffee. It's going to be an hour plus conversation of, okay, let's walk through these things, and especially with guardianship, because there may be a difference of opinion there.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm thinking that. Well, I'm thinking these people instead. Well, next line of communication, well, why? Why are you selecting these individuals? This is why I'm selecting these individuals, and coming to a consensus of who's going to be best equipped to take care of your children. And that could be, morals, values, the way that they live their life, the way that they're raising their children. You have to be confident in knowing, hey, I'm entrusting my children's lives with these people.
My
I
legacy.
Make sure that they're going to be okay for the long haul. And having that discussion is A1A with those people that you are thinking,
please,
to be guardian of your children.
Cox Financial Group, DBA Cox, and Cook Wealth Advisors is a registered investment advisor located in Ohio. CCWA only transact business in the states in which it is registered or qualifies for an exemption or exclusion from registration requirements. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. Case studies presented are purely hypothetical examples only and do not represent actual clients or results. These studies are provided for educational purposes only. Similar or even positive results cannot be guaranteed. Each client has their own unique set of circumstances, so products and strategies may not be suitable for all people. Please consult with a qualified professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. No portion of these case studies is to be interpreted as a testimonial or endorsement of the firm's investment advisory services.